If you've driven downtown Pittsburgh at night, you cannot miss the Highmark building bathed in red. It is a very visual reminder that February is National Heart Health Month, and women in particular are urged to go red for healthy heart awareness. That's because heart disease is the #1 killer of all women, yet many of us are unaware of the danger signs and what we can do to prevent it.
Yeah, we're talking today about what women and the people who love them need to know about this in our Eye on Health segment, sponsored by Highmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, together with Allegheny Health Network. And joining us are Antoinette Jucha. She is a living example of the importance of heart health after surviving her own scare, along with Dr. Indu Poornima, who is the director of Allegheny Health Network's Women's Heart Center. And welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
What a scary day for you. I really want to hear what happened that day and what brought you to the hospital.
I woke up that morning very tired. I was getting ready with my husband to go to work. I had sat down to brush my hair, and I felt exhausted, and all of a sudden I just wanted to close my eyes, and the next thing I knew, the carpet was coming up to my face.
Wow.
I had fallen off the chair. My husband said, "What happened?" And I started to laugh because I said, "I think I just fell off the chair. I got vertigo or something." And I got back up on there and I said, "You know, I'm really tired. Give me a couple minutes." I treated it as a joke.
Right.
It was something funny. And I told him, "Give me a couple minutes. I'll be right down and we can go." Finished up, I'm going down the hallway, and we live in a small ranch, and I'm going side to side. Oh, I'm falling against the wall and I'm wondering, oh boy, am I off balance, you know, and not thinking. I had no pain.
Well, and thankfully your husband said, "We can't ignore this. We got to get you to the hospital." But
Yes.
How unusual to hear those symptoms, because that doesn't sound like a heart attack or some sort of heart issue to me.
Absolutely, and it's not uncommon. As you know, women do have symptoms that are very different from what a man would typically describe when they have a heart attack. So the crushing chest pain, if you're waiting for that to happen, it may be a bit too late. So in fact, women do still have chest pain, and in fact that is still the most common symptom of a heart attack in women, but you can have a myriad of other complaints that precede the chest pain, such as even just nausea and vomiting, shortness of breath on exertion, or dizziness like Antoinette had. So those can all be presenting symptoms of a heart attack, and it's important to seek attention immediately. If you wait for the chest pain to happen, it may be a bit too late.
And in fact, early diagnosis of heart issues is really, really important because these symptoms are harder to pinpoint, right?
Exactly. The reason women tend to actually do worse after a heart attack is because they present late. So they have these unusual symptoms. They don't go into the emergency room and seek attention, but also physicians do not recognize that these could be symptoms of a heart attack. So when they come into the emergency room, they get evaluated for different
Vertigo.
things. Exactly.
Right.
And sometimes a heart attack can get missed. Especially among young women, this is exceptionally common.
So you brought a model, and this is obviously an enlarged model
Yes.
of a heart, but when there are heart issues, when you have some sort of cardiovascular disease or problems, what exactly is going on inside your body?
Sure. So yeah, this is a very enlarged version of the heart. So
Right.
the heart, as you know, is the size of a fist. But the heart has 4 chambers. You can see the 2 ventricles at the bottom and the 2 atria at the top. But all of this is supplied by what is called as a coronary arteries, which is the arteries that you see running on top of the muscle there. So when these arteries get blocked suddenly, that's what causes a heart attack. But you can have other things that go wrong with the heart. For example, the heart muscle can get weak, and that's what causes congestive heart failure. And as you can see inside the heart, you see these valves.
Maybe like this way.
Sure. Inside the heart, you have these valves, and these valves can not work well, and they can leak or they can become narrow, and that can cause heart valve problems. So the problem is that all of these different parts of the heart can have the exact same symptoms. When some portions of the heart, the top portions of the heart, which are called the atria, they start fibrillating or beating irregularly, they cause atrial fibrillation, which is actually a very common problem that we see in women.
And that was actually something that you were previously diagnosed with.
Yes, I've had atrial fibrillation since the year 2000. Wow. So it's been a long time. I have a long history with it. I also ended up having an aorta valve replacement. So it's not like I was totally new to anything that was a heart problem. This was not anything I would think would be the heart.
And in fact, you were saying before, you were close to having a heart attack. Like, if your husband had not stepped in,
Yeah.
we might not be speaking with you today.
Exactly. He was the hero that day. It was a situation where when I got in the car with him, and I did that again with the passing out thing that I thought was sleeping. All of a sudden the car stopped and we're in the parking lot of our doctor, my primary care doctor's office, and I woke up and felt wonderful. And I looked around and said, what are we doing here?
There are people that are really sick.
There are people who are really sick. You're bringing an old lady with vertigo in to bother them. And he kept dragging me by my collar into the...
Sometimes we have to do that to our spouses, don't we?
We go through the exam room fighting like a cat and a dog, and we get in the exam room and the doctor said, I'm going to listen to your heart while you tell the nurse what happened. And that was the last thing I remember.
Wow.
When I woke up, I did not know who I was or where I was or how all those people got in that room. And then I realized someone was holding my hand and the doctor was telling me, you have to go to the hospital. And I saw the gurney there, and I go to get up to go on it, and everybody in the room, I think, said in unison, sit down. And they put me on it and took me in to Allegheny General Hospital, and 3 times more on the way into AGH. That heart was stopping. I did the passing
Thank
out.
goodness that your husband acted. And Antoinette, I've known you for years.
Yes.
Never knew any of this, and I'm so grateful that you're okay.
I'm still around to bother all of you.
To share your story.
Right, and luckily you do have somebody in your life that was able to get you there, but there is a whole team available through Allegheny Health Network, and there's a fantastic center dedicated to just this.
That's correct. And what Antoinette had was not a classic heart attack, so it's not due to blockage of the arteries. It was because her heartbeat was not originating and conducting like it normally does. And therefore she actually needed a pacemaker to support her heart. So the services regarding cardiovascular care anywhere, including Allegheny Health Network, is directed more at addressing all these different problems that may occur with cardiovascular disease, including valve disease, electrical problems with the heart, such as AFib, needing pacemakers, congestive heart failure, as well as treatment of an actual myocardial infarction, which is when an artery gets blocked suddenly.
And the center is both at Allegheny General, but also in Wexford, right?
That's correct, yes. So our Women's Heart Center, we have physicians who are exceptionally dedicated to this cause, and we have a clinic at Allegheny General Hospital as well as at Wexford. And what we want to do is not just treat the disease, but raise the awareness so that women seek attention before they actually develop a problem. So we know that there are multiple risk factors for heart disease, and we'd like to see women address it before they come in with their heart attack, like Antoinette unfortunately had to do.
Yeah, I know this month is not just about statistics.
Yes.
It's about making sure that you have heart health all the time and taking control of that. Thank you both, and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
And you can look for a link to the AHN Women's Heart Center to learn more about the services and support offered there at kdka.com/PTL.
And keep watching our new Eye on Health series here on PTL. It's every other Wednesday, sponsored by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, together with Allegheny Health Network.